Did God create evil? Some have said, since God created everything, He must have created evil. That's a logical statement to make, but it demands another question to be answered. How can a holy, righteous God create something so sinister as evil? I mean, if God is a loving God who, above all else, is holy and blameless, how can He have created murderers, thieves, rapists, and baby killers? Let's take a look at the beginning of evil as we know it, as it appears in the Bible, book of Revelation. Go with me to Revelation chapter 12, verse 3 through 8. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God, and to His throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. The first interesting thing I find about this scripture is the appearance of the reptilian object, the red dragon. This red dragon is a direct reference to Satan, Lucifer, otherwise known as the devil. Satan, a created being, was once one of the most beautiful angels God created. He was said to be in charge of the worship in heaven. For some reason, Satan's pride rose up in him, and he wanted to have the worship that belonged to God alone for himself. Satan, or Lucifer, headed up a rebellion in heaven, starting a war, which ended up in himself and 1/3 of the angels being cast out of heaven. If we were to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 3, we would find the appearance of the same beast, serpent object in the Garden of Eden. This time, he was described as a serpent. The serpent tempted Eve and deceived her into eating the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge. God had commanded Adam and Eve not to eat this fruit, or they would surely die. The serpent convinced Eve that if she ate the fruit, she would be like God, knowing good from evil. She really liked the idea of becoming like God, knowing good from evil. So she ate of the fruit, not believing what God had told them. Now we see that the devil, formerly known as Lucifer, was a created being. That we have no doubt. But nowhere in the Holy Scriptures do we find evidence that proves that God is the creator of evil. God, in His infinite wisdom, allowed us the freedom of choice. He could have easily just have removed the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and man would never have fallen. Why didn't He? Maybe that's the question we should be asking. God is love. He isn't a dictator who wants the whole world to bow down and worship Him without a choice. You see, love is a choice. God wanted us as a people to know right from wrong. He wanted us to have options. Love requires options. No options, no love. It's that simple. God wanted a people to love who could freely choose to love Him back. Think about it. When you see true love, it's a two-way event. A man loves a woman loves a man. We could arrange couples together all we want and make them get married, but the choice to love is in the heart of the individual man or woman. Love without choice is simply obedience. It's emotionless and not a decision of the heart or the decision maker within each and every one of us. Choice had to be given in order for God to build his kingdom of believers. It's because of this choice or free will ability that evil has come about. Evil's not a created thing. It has no substance to it whatsoever. It's simply the absence of God or good. Similarly, darkness is not a created thing. It's simply the absence of light. God created Satan. Satan chose to disobey. God created man. Man chose to disobey. Satan and man's act was evil brought about by wrong choice. So to answer our original question, did God create evil? My answer is absolutely not. God did not create evil. He simply allowed the ability to choose right and wrong. The evil that's in the world today is a direct result of choices made against God's advice. Not as a result of God creating evil, but as a direct result of God's created beings rebelling against him.